yourself into a hazmat suit, Agent. We just got word that the experimental antivirals lost in the Dark Zone have been located. There's no time to wait. You and a team need to go secure them right now, or someone else will.
All right, speed run.
So in this video, you'll see a quick run through survival. If you've ever seen me play this DLC before for Tom Clancy's Division, you know that if you take your time and you plan things out well, it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete. My objective is to try to get it done in about 30 minutes or less. Now, I start off by taking a look at where I'm located and formulating a plan in my head. Now, the whole point here is to make your way to areas that you know will have items that will be useful to you to pick up. You don't want to spend too much time in hideouts crafting. You want to just make a beeline straight for the Dark Zone and make it there as fast as possible. Now, even in this situation here, I warmed up next to the barrel and I didn't engage the rioters that were there. I don't want to get bogged down fighting too many hostiles, basically because they don't always drop things that are valuable, and it takes up a lot of your time. And for survival, time is of the essence, and that is even more so when you're trying to do a quick run of the level. So here I'm pinpointing an area next to some buildings. Usually when you go into buildings, you can find some clothing items. And that's one of the things that I want to avoid as much as possible when I'm doing a speed run, is having to stop and craft items of clothing for myself. Finding places, either small alleys around apartment buildings, or being able to enter an apartment and get access to whatever clothing loot is found within, is the better strategy when it comes to this. Now, keeping in mind that some situations it'll be unavoidable to face enemies and fight them, you still want to make sure that you have plenty of things like canned foods and energy bars to be able to replenish your health should you have to fight, and also if you do take damage. You'll also want to, whenever possible, stop and grab drinks, either soda or water, because since you're not taking too much time to stop and gather things along the way, you'll want to make use of whatever you find. Oh, see, now I activated a bomb here. And yeah, had I waited for it to be extinguished, I definitely would have lost some precious seconds there. So as you can see here, apartment. This one doesn't have any clothing, but it has consumables, and that's always good to grab, even if you're just speeding through the levels like I am. And as you can see, the bomb exploded. I took a little bit of damage, so I need to keep an eye on that. I'm not saying stop immediately and use a consumable, but you don't want to face an enemy at one point and have to stop and be extra careful because your health is low. And as you can see, like, my primary objective is still to make my way over to another apartment, but I am coming across some loot boxes, canned food. Like, it's there, pick it up, it's on your way, you know, it's not a big deal. So as you can tell, just in this room, 2 pieces of clothing. Sure, it's the same thing, like they're both hats. However, it definitely bumps up your resistance to the cold, and that is very much the absolute necessity here. A few lesser items, but since I've stopped and picked up better things, like, it's not a big loss, and it's also on my way out. You know, it's not like I'm climbing up to the next level in order to go and find these things. So yeah, like you can see, sometimes it's just you're in it, they're in your way, and you have to fight. Map is extremely important, because often you'll be making your way, and especially on the outskirts of the island, there's a lot more snow, and visibility is reduced to practically nothing. So making sure that you keep oriented and you set some markers on the map so that you have a general idea of where you need to go. That's always important, because the last thing you want is essentially getting lost and not being close to a heat source, because as soon as you are below whatever rating you're able to maintain. Actually, that's not accurate. Whenever you're below your core body temperature, then you start to freeze. You have some time, because once you're freezing, it starts affecting your health. So if your health bars are full, you're not in a dire situation, but you can't mess around with that. So keep oriented, keep markers on your screen, and always consult your map.
Drop in core temperature detected.
So again, as you see, I'm picking up fabric, I'm picking up weapons parts, not so much tools as of yet, but they're all things that are going to be necessary for you to be able to extract at the end. You can run full tilt to the dark zone, that's fine, but keep in mind that once you're in there, you're going to want to have some items that you can use to craft. At the very least, if you didn't pick up like good gear, like this purple backpack, which is absolutely just lucky for me, because oftentimes it's blue or green, especially at this level, at this stage, I should say, in the map. But if you don't get those better pieces of gear, things are gonna be pretty dicey when you're trying to call in your extraction chopper and get out of the core, get out of Manhattan.
Body temperature dropping below normal levels.
So at this stage, it's pretty good. I have a purple backpack, which until you're able to craft high-end gear golden color, it's the best equipment you can get. And I have a purple LMG. LMGs for me are probably one of the better weapons in the DLC survival. Mainly because they have a decent firing rate, but they also cause a little bit of stagger on the enemies. So if they're coming at you shooting, you pop them a couple of times with an LMG, and you'll see that they'll drop a shoulder, their weapon will flail a little bit, and in a lot of cases they're unable to continue with their attack, and that gives you just a slight edge. You see it more. The stagger is more obvious when you're shooting with a shotgun, but they're both very useful in that respect. So some people will just press forward and avoid stopping to pick up crafting materials.
You are now entering a safe area.
Those are all valuable choices.
Warning. Vital
Valuable,
signs indicate probable
viable, I
infection.
think I should be using instead. But when it comes down to it, you have to think forward. You have to be prepared for what you're gonna face in the Dark Zone, because I have been in a situation where I didn't stop for crafting materials. I didn't loot many boxes. All my gear was green going into the Dark Zone, and I found myself in situations where I had to run away from whatever enemy was present, and then you end up getting shot in the back. You have not very strong pieces of armor to protect you, and so you take a lot of damage. And unfortunately, one situation, I ended up at a crossroads with two different factions showing up, and they both decided that I was the bigger threat than each other. So they started to attack me, and I did not survive. So building on that, I started to
Warning.
take the
Now
approach
leaving a safe
of
area.
making sure I had enough to protect myself, both for offensive power and defensive damage resistance. So as you saw, I crafted a couple of things while I was in the hideout. The two most important were the filter and advanced filter, because you cannot proceed into the Dark Zone without them. There we go, another lucky pull from a loot box. You can't always do a speed run and upgrade all your gear. It happens to me often where I will end up with green gear when I'm going into the dark zone. Heck, even when I'm extracting. But in situations where it's on your way, stop and open that box. The good thing about speed runs like this is that because you're rushing, you don't have to worry as much about managing the infection. So as you can see, I've stopped the spread of the infection with the medicine, and my timer is still showing 56 minutes, which when you start the survival campaign, you're at a little bit over an hour. I think it's an hour and 5 minutes total. So less than 10 minutes have gone by. I hadn't had to scrounge for a lot of painkillers or medicine, and I'm still like in a really great position. So I really don't have to worry about how much time I'm gonna have left on my infection clock once I get to the extraction area. So here I veered off because I saw there were a couple of enemies, and typically in that area they're elites. And even though I have the purple LMG to fight, those elites are going to consume a lot of time, and they're going to tear you apart because they are built like mini tanks. So in this case, best to avoid them and make my way to another area where I can pick up things that I know I'm gonna need. Like, I haven't been picking up enough tools for my liking, so coming up to this this is called the Remnants of the Morgue, and it's controlled by cleaners, one elite, and the rest are all veterans, so purple name indicators and health bars. And it's a great place for loot, but only when you're taking your time and you're really putting in the full, hour and a half, 2 hours to grind as much equipment as you can. But now I'm looking here, and my cold gear is at minus 20 degrees. So I know for a fact that once you're in the dark zone, minus 20, you're laughing, because it doesn't get cold enough to affect you. So here on out, I can actually just avoid any areas where there would be a detour to get clothing, and I can just concentrate on hitting the dark zone. Always stay hydrated, and especially with water, because it is the best consumable to help you see loot boxes and bags like grenades. So here's a good spot. It's pretty much a soft target. Bonus, picked up a purple holster. There's only one veteran here, and all the others are low-level common enemies, so it's fairly easy to get rid of them. Oh, look, and another purple gear piece, the mask. So that's mask, backpack, and holster, and a LMG. And quite frankly, I've made it to the extraction zone. Oh, and knee pads too. Brilliant. Made it to the extraction zone where my best piece of gear was a chest piece that was blue. So it is possible to extract with low-level gear. However, I did stop and craft a high-end sniper rifle. When you're doing this and you're really not stopping for the higher level gear, what you want to do is set yourself up so that you can hit the hideout that's just south of the Bryant Park extraction area. Okay, just looking here, trying to see what's around. Quite often you'll find some things close to the entrances, but some places it's like there's nothing. So here I look out, I get a weapon part, but it does happen quite frequently that you're looking around and there's just absolutely nothing, and you have to make your way a little deeper in order to start finding some useful gear.
Warning. Immune response detected. Infection.
So yeah, like I was saying, you'll want to set yourself up with an extraction at Bryant Park because it's the best area to... Oof. Guess I was able to use a med kit really quick. You get the best cover when you hit up Bryant Park for the extraction. There's a building, you can climb up the stairs, make your way to a balcony, and then you can fight the hunters below. I don't think they are designed to climb up and chase you into the building. But I say that, and a suppressor. Perfect. I say that, but it has happened once where the hunter spawned inside the building, and I was at the perch looking out over the extraction area where the helicopter lands, and I couldn't spot him. And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna move. I'm going to go over to the other elevated position, and that area gives you a different angle on the park. And as I'm making my way through the rooms inside the building, there's a hunter on the second floor just looking at me. And it's like a fraction of a second, like we both kind of hesitate, and then I just unleashed my LMG, just emptied out the clip on him and killed him off. So things can get bizarre. It can be different than what we're used to, and you have to be prepared for anything. So the reason I'm in this park here clearing it out is because I know there's a div tech box on the other side of I want to say that's a tennis court. But yeah, and even though I'm not going to be spending a lot of time and effort crafting, I do want to be prepared to be able to craft a weapon, and weapons require a div tech, at least one. But if you don't have enough high-end weapon parts for both the flare gun and a high-end weapon, you're gonna need to turn and use your div tech. So I have gathered a lot of things to craft, but I didn't keep track of how many weapon parts I had mentally. So I just want to make sure that when I'm good and ready to make my way to the hideout, I don't have to come out again and start scrounging more items. I'll have everything I need, craft the flare gun, craft the weapon, and head for extraction. So I think the good news for me in this situation is that the antivirals are fairly close to the area where I came in. So not a lot of running. I don't have to worry too much about where I need to go and which areas I need to run through, because everything from the point I enter to where the antivirals are all little side areas. You know, you walk through the main hallway of this little mall. You go down alleyways, and I think the park that we were at was the largest like the most wide open area.
Warning. Vital signs indicate probable infection.
And here we go.
Cache
Antivirals
secured.
are in our possession.
Alert. Infection progress halted.
Now it's to look for the most appropriate hideout. And the reason that I picked this one is also because immediately next to it, there's an alleyway that brings you behind a building. And there's two common enemies there, so red. And you kill them both, and right behind them is a box of DiffTech. So by doing that, I feel that it's maximizing my my time. So now I have the DiffTech from the box with the antiviral in it, the box of DiffTech from the park, the box of DiffTech that was in that alley before I entered the park. So I'm doing pretty good there. And then I can grab the DiffTech next to the hideout, and I'll have enough of everything to be able to confidently extract. Yeah, again, it wasn't necessary to stop and take a look there. I wanted to because I wasn't sure if there was anything that was worth my time. But from the outline of that box, it basically seemed like it was just a cooler. And with the amount of time that I'm going to spend in the game, I don't feel like I need to spend any additional time and effort at double painkillers. That's easy. Excuse me.
Alert.
I don't feel like I need to spend any additional time topping up the consumables. Like, moving forward, the only thing that the consumables will do is help boost up my score, because that's one of the things that is the trade-off, if you will, from doing a quick speed run like this. It's to you're giving up points essentially. So if you take a look, there's daily and weekly assignments for the game once you reach end game, and two of those are survival related. So you have daily survival, so you need to extract, and then the weekly survival is you need to obtain 20,000 points.
Extraction is now detected.
There we go. So the flares created. Now time to convert parts and get my gear set up for the final confrontation with the hunter. So Bryant Park, my go-to weapon is the custom M44. uh, high velocity, good range, and it does a lot of damage.
Warning. Infection
When
detected.
you're taking your time and you're upgrading all your gear, if you have enough materials, you can boost up your stats by creating some mods that fit into your armor. And if your firearms rating is high enough, on occasion I have been able to take out the hunter with one headshot. However, today with this really short round in survival, I am not going to be spending any time and energy bumping up my stats like that. So as you can tell, my chest piece is still green, and my gloves are blue. Like, I really lucked out with the pulls I got. And I even had enough stuff to craft a pulse and craft a base station, a support station. It's not always necessary to have those things, but they do give you a tactical advantage.
Infection progress halted.
And who knows, sometimes the battles with the hunters, especially when you're not geared up and your stats aren't super high, those battles can take, you know, a lot of time. And you know, what's lucky for us is that they built the game so that if you're still fighting a hunter when a chopper is in the area, they'll hover overhead until the helipad is secure. So it's not like they go, "Oh, you didn't finish it off. Well, peace out. We'll see you later." You know? Here we go, extraction time. Listen for that pulse, that grenade.
Armored hostile detected.
There it is. The disruption. I guess he spawned too far. Sometimes you hear the puff from the smoke grenade. But yeah, he's pretty far. Look at that. So I prefer the VX scope because it allows you to look to see a lot closer. Oh, look at that! Wow. Heck, I didn't even need the pulse or the base station. Jeez. But yeah, it zooms in a lot closer than
Vital signs indicate probable
the ACOG that I have right now. But
Alert. Infection
you know, if you're in a situation where you have to sit around and wait, not sit around and wait, the opposite. When you have to rush, when you don't have time to sit around and wait to get good gear and to, you know, take out the larger, stronger enemies that have more, that drop better loot. The ACOG, it's very much advantageous to have. But of course, the VX also gives you headshot damage bonus, and that's nothing to sneeze on. Or sneeze at. Eesh. It's late. Man, so this is pretty good. I'll have to check the time at the end to see how it's looking.
60 seconds to go.
How much time did it take me? I think I'm a little over the 30-minute mark.
Warning. Immune response detected. Infection imminent.
It's all good. I still have medicine on me, so. Oh.
30 seconds.
Guess my socials were resized, so it looks all weird. Oh man.
15 seconds.
Yeah, so if you're ever playing this, either the game or Survival, the DLC, you want to hit me up, ask me some questions, reach out to me on, I'd have to say Twitter would be your best bet. Just at Pitmaster,
Nice and easy.
P1TMST3R. And I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
30 seconds to evac.
Alright. Can't wait to see my score. Mission complete. Sorry, little mic issues.
This bird is taking off in 10 seconds. In the air and returning to base.
Yeehaw!
Happy to have you back online, Agent. I was worried about you there. The storm's passed and things are looking up. Get back here when you can.
Getting back there now, actually. Alright, 3600. I didn't get time-sensitive materials because I'm over 30 minutes. 3180, 1690, 895, 2150. 11,515 is actually pretty good. The speed run where I clocked in under 30, it was actually under 25. Yeah, barely netted me 4,000 points. That was brutal. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Quick and dirty. But yeah, this is definitely a different kind of challenge. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Peace.